how would you advise someone who's really, really struggling with dryness in their prayer?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think the first thing is to note that that's normal. Like the first thing is to realize, oh, dryness in prayer is not necessarily, I hate saying it like this, it's nothing special. Like it's, but at the same time, I mean, but not that you're not something special, but the sense of like, oh, this is what's supposed to happen. That conviction, I don't have to panic. This is what's supposed to happen is I wish someone had told me that, right? I
Hmm.
wish someone had told me that because you even said it, Katie. I loved how you said it too. You said, well, no, part of this, part of the chore, part of the duty or the obligation or the difficulty in prayer sometimes is the fact that I've made a commitment. And sometimes it's hard to keep your commitments. To be able to say it simply, like you said it so simply and so clearly, I was like, oh, yeah,
Hmm.
powerfully though. That, yeah, whenever we've made a commitment, um, we've also obligated ourselves to something. And it's going to be difficult at times and it's going to feel like a chore at times. Even if my commitment was, yeah, I committed to at least 3 chocolate chip cookies a day and I got to honor that commitment. Like at some point that would still be a chore. Like, why do I have to eat chocolate chip cookies today? So past that is to say, why is it necessary? Like, sorry, because I hope I said this. Dryness is normal and dryness is necessary. This is really, really important. It's normal because literally every Christian who has become a praying Christian has gone through dryness. Um, sorry, when I say gone through dryness, it sounds like you get through it and you're not dry anymore. No, we go through dryness.
Hmm.
But after we learn what to do in dryness, then it's not so bad anymore in the sense that we're like, oh no, I know what's happening and I'm not going to panic. And God is doing something in this dryness. That's what I said. So it's normal and it's necessary. Why is it necessary? I think you probably had this experience. I know I continue to. Is there are times when I want to. Where I was like, God, help me to love you just for you. Like I know C.S. Lewis, he had this poem that talked about the mercenary heart. Like, Lord, I've always had a mercenary heart, a heart that will go to the highest bidder, essentially. And sometimes when we're really honest with ourselves, we realize, okay, we ask the question, Jesus, have I come to you simply because I don't want to go to hell? Like, am I choosing you and your will because I simply don't want not you and not your will? I don't want to be abandoned. And so, am I choosing you out of selfishness? Am I choosing you because I'm a mercenary? Because, and we're like, I don't want that though, Lord. I want to love you for your sake. And that's great. That's fantastic. How do we get to that point? How do we get to the point where we actually love God for his own sake? Well, what happens, what's necessary is for that love to be purified. And so I go to prayer and in prayer, I'm getting this consolation of like, this is good. And I'm getting insight into the Lord and I'm getting these consolations of grace. And I'm loving him and that's real love. I'm really choosing him, but I'm also choosing myself. I'm also choosing the consolation. I'm also choosing kind of the gift, not just the giver. So at some point, what God has to do, because he wants us to grow, he wants us to have a heart that's been purified. What he has to do, necessary, what he has to do is he has to take those consolations away. He has to allow it to be dry. He has to allow it to be difficult, not to test us, like, we'll see what they'll do now, like, if they're going to quit on me, but because he needs us to have the kinds of heart that he has. And Jesus has the kind of heart that says, Father, let this cup pass from me. I don't want this, but I want what you want. And I'm willing to do whatever it is you want, even if it means my death and my suffering. And so for us to be able to say that at the end, we have to say that on those little moments, those daily moments. In dryness, we're like, I'm not really getting anything out of this. And God's like, yes, this is the key moment. This is the moment you actually get to say you love me. Not because you're getting something back, but because you just simply love me for my own sake. So periods of dryness and difficulties in prayer, they're normal. And I'd say just don't panic, just keep showing up. But also recognize that they're necessary because God's doing something. And this is kind of the ultimate thing, is that whether there's consolation and there's a great grace is there, or whether there's this dryness and I don't feel anything, in all those circumstances, in all the situations, God is doing something. And if we have that conviction, if we have that certainty, if we have that faith that declares this, like, no, even in my dryness, I don't feel anything, but I know God is doing something where I don't feel anything. That no, I feel even like worse. I feel abandoned by God. Okay, God's doing something in that moment that he couldn't do without that moment. Because if we really trust him as our good dad, then we know that even when I'm experiencing dryness in prayer, it's not because he's being arbitrary or because he's just kind of, he's gone. It's because he's doing something in this, and he's doing something in that dryness and in that feeling of desolation that he wouldn't be able to do deeply in our hearts unless we had that.
Thank you so much for watching this clip. It's part of a longer discussion that I had with Father Mike. So if you want to check out the full video, it's on YouTube, or go to our website, calledtomore.org.